On today's video, I'm going to be testing out the new version of the DJI Fly App. This is 1.10.4, and as it currently stands, this is available for iOS devices and Android phones. At this current moment in time, we do not have it for the RC controller, which will eventually come in the form of a firmware update. Now, for the purpose of this video, I have been out flying the DJI Mini 2 and the DJI Mini 3, because those are still the most popular drones on my channel. Now on this video, I will be covering whether there's anything new, what you certainly do need to look out for that I've identified during my testing, and of course a full flight test using the DJI Mini 3 Pro as well, just to figure out whether everything works exactly as it should, such as return to home, quick shots, etc, etc. So without further ado, let's get straight on with the video. Now on this channel, I do prioritise the Android devices, so if you do have an iOS device and you're seeing my video and you haven't seen a feature which is on your device, this is notable when it comes to the additional buttons or assigning the function button, for example. Not to worry, it's just simply iOS devices do have more options in that department than what the Android version of the app does. If you do have an Android device, you can get this a couple of ways. All you need to do is pop to the DJI download page and search for the DJI Fly App download. All you need to do is click the button on screen and it will automatically download to your device. The other way is just simply opening up the DJI Fly App, provided you've got an internet connection, and then it will prompt you that there is an update available. All you need to do is click update and it will go through the motions. Now, a third resource is my own personal Google Drive. You see, what I've done is I've hosted all of the old Android install files for all of the old DJI Fly App. So basically, if you do install a version of the Fly App and it doesn't quite work on your device, or there's something you do not like, you can use that resource to go back to a previous version, and you can find a link to those Google Drive files in the video description. So what's new then? Well, we have got new voice prompts that are more natural sounding, and we have got fixed certain issues and optimized overall app quality. So just a quick example of the voice prompts that have been updated to a more natural sound. We go from this:
the home point has been updated. Please check it on the map.
Saying the home point is now being updated, and it now sounds like this.
Home point updated.
Maximum flight altitude reached.
Max altitude reached.
Personally, I felt like the previous version sounded absolutely fine, and I don't know, maybe it's just me, I kind of felt like this one sounds a little bit more robotic, but it is what it is. So getting on with the video then, and I want to just quickly address the thumbnail, because I did say be careful in the thumbnail. Note that wasn't clickbait, there is a genuine point to it, and this is it. It seems that DJI have actually reduced the lowest return to home altitude from 20 meters down to 15 meters. And what's really strange as well is if you do mess about with the slider when it comes to the max altitude, you can actually select that down to 15 meters. But if you do so without even realizing, if that slider hits all the way down to 15 meters, as you can see, it automatically sets your return to home altitude at 15 meters. And that is a potential banana skin, because of course, if you are just playing around with your slider before, it wouldn't do that, but for some reason now it does. Yes, if you are flying above 15 meters, it will always return to home at that height, but just something for you to check, because if you are flying below, it possibly won't rise as much as what you're expecting. So if you are potentially in a return to home situation and you think your return to home is set at, say, 50 meters, which it was, unfortunately, you could be in a position where you are only at 15 meters. Now, of course, I have spoke about the return to home modes in great detail, and I will leave a link at the end of this video so you can go check those out. Now, the next one was a screenshot which has been sent to me by one of my subscribers. Now, this is actually unconfirmed at this moment, because I cannot really validate it any further here in the UK. I'm not having this issue, but certainly one thing to look out for is the fact that this subscriber, which is based in the EU, once they have updated from 1.10.1 to 1.10.4, they can no longer select the maximum altitude above 120 meters. It physically doesn't go any further on the slider. Now, they have done some testing for me, and by reverting back to that 1.10.1, you can then increase that back to 500 meters. Please let me know if you are limited to 120 meters or if it does allow you to go further. Like I've already mentioned, here in the UK, I can still select 500 meters, but I am aware of a couple of people that have been limited to 120 meters. Now, of course, if you are on Android, you can use my resource, as already mentioned, to go back to a previous version. However, if you are on iOS, there is no way of going back. And of course, if you do have the DJI RC controller with the built-in screen, again, there is no way to roll back to a previous version of the Fly app. So if that is the case, and this new DJI Fly app is limiting people to 120 meters, you will not be able to go back. Now, I have been out flying the DJI Mini 2 and the Mini 3 Pro, and first of all, with the Mini 2, everything worked exactly as it should. There was nothing new in the menu system, but I would have to say at this stage of the Mini 2's life, I wouldn't actually expect there to be making many improvements. I did have a really frustrating thing again, where for some bizarre reason with this app, my little LED light colour down at the front always resets back to grey. I just switched that back to yellow, but it's not really a big issue, but just something to be aware of. Now, flying with the Mini 3 Pro, again, going through all the menus, there is nothing new. Everything seems to be working exactly as it should. So all we're going to do is just take off and perform a couple of little tests, make sure the drone is doing exactly as it should. So first of all, we're going to start this off with a simple quick shot. It's always good to make sure the drone is selecting everything as it should do. Now, many of you do look at some of my reviews and possibly leave negative comments because, you know, everything does work perfectly fine for you, but this wasn't always the case. The reason why I mention these tests is because in the past there have been bugs and flaws with the DJI Fly app which has prevented people from actually selecting targets when performing a quick shot. For example, there was issues with the screen going black or the drone just stopping. Believe me guys, it has been quite a long journey, so this is why I perform these tests, just to make sure everything is actually doing what it's supposed to do. So if we just speed up this quick shot, this circle quick shot, as you can see, it performed it absolutely fine, 100%, and it's really, these quick shots are really good to get some really smooth footage if you're not so good on the sticks. So just flying around, performing some basic tasks such as switching between videos, photos, checking the panos shots or anything like that, I can confirm everything is working absolutely fine on this DJI Mini 3 Pro, and of course it did do as well on the DJI Mini 2. So what we're going to do is test the return to home just to make sure it does exactly what it's supposed to do. So all we're going to do is hit that return to home button. Of course, you do have two options. You can either land the drone where it is, or you have got the option to return to home where the drone will fly back to its takeoff location. And that's why when you are about to take off, or when you first turn your drone on, it's always important to make sure you've got enough satellites and you see that home point has been updated message, because if you do get into trouble and you need the drone to return to home, that is how it calculates exactly where it needs to come back to. And as you can see, as always, this drone has come back exactly as it should to our home point location. What I always suggest and what I say on all of these videos is do not leave it to chance. This drone does not have precision landing, so it may well be it is a couple of meters off. That's absolutely normal and acceptable. So all you need to do is just cancel the return to home landing and just land it manually, keeping your eyes on the drone at all times. So in terms of stability, this app seems absolutely perfectly fine. Please do be aware of the issues I mentioned at the beginning of this video. For me, this seems absolutely fine to install, but of course, please do let me know in the comment section below your experience, and if you've had any further problems, I'm always happy to hear it. Now, I do test all of the DJI Fly app and firmware updates on my channel, so if that's something you want to keep on top of, please do subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification to be notified when I do post one of my review videos. If you found this video useful, please do, of course, give it a thumbs up. It just tells YouTube that you like this video and others might like it too, increasing its reach. Until next time, thank you very much for watching. See you again soon.